So we welcome Yassin Alsalman, aka Narcy, the musician, the actor, the author, the professor, the multimedia artist. We refer to him as the leader ambassador for the Arab Canadian community, and also the conscious voice of Arab hip hop. So welcome with all those titles, huh?
Thank you, thank you. I'd hope all the voices from our community are conscious, but I doubt it at this point. At this
Mm,
point in history.
yeah. Well, we're so honored to have you. My name is Sandra Gasana. I'm a journalist for Panem 360, and I'll be doing the interview with you today. So before we dive into the interview, how is it to wear all those hats and not be burnt out?
I definitely burn out occasionally, but I think my process is very much like staying in process. So I'll be working on multiple things at once before finalizing them, and it looks like a lot of stuff is happening at once, but it's been years of kind of working on things, you know. So
Okay. It's been a build up.
yeah, but
And how?
I burn out often. It's part of
Yeah.
my process.
Yeah. Okay. We'll try to avoid that in the future, hopefully. And how did the change of name from the narcissist to Narcy was reflected in your art? Not in your art, I should say in your arts with an S.
Yeah, I think it just became a lot easier to spell, and then also it's what people were calling me on a regular basis, so it just became my nickname. And I think at that point I had shifted from like a heavily political kind of content into something that is a mix of both the political and the personal. So it was just kind of a change of direction. And then more recently with the double album that I just finished that we're selling through the bookshop, side A is titled under Narcy, and then side B is titled under Yassin on it, because it goes from that persona to the person who is me, So
Interesting. So more introspection
yeah,
with the name. Okay.
yeah, definitely.
So you recently released Voices Through Rubble with Saul Williams and the
Mm.
Hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
So how was how was that collaboration? How did it go?
That was very natural. I mean, I was visiting LA, and I went to see my friends. They used to be called a Tribe Called Red, but they're called the Hallucination now. So I went to see them in LA. We happened to be there at the same time, and they played me this song that they had been working on with Saul Williams. That was for Gaza, and they asked me to kind of add an Arab voice to it, or say a few things. So I kept it very simple and just said free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, like a mantra, and free Gaza, free Gaza, free Gaza, like a mantra.
Yeah. Well, the sound at first, it's a bit different from what you were used to with you, but yeah, it was interesting to see another type, another style of music. And how was the creative process of We Are the Medium, so the latest album, from your previous projects?
So We Are the Medium is my collective and company here in Montreal that kind of runs through our bookshop Mektaba. It's me and Sundus who run it, and we use it as a kind of a vehicle to push out moments from our community, as well as any of the publishing type works that we do. So my latest album is called To Be an Arab, which is a two-part record. And it was premiered with an art show at the Phi Center that the Medium helped kind of put together, and it comprised of artists that are in our collective. Actually, that piece right there is my piece from the show, the sword.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know how clear
Oh,
it is.
yes, I see. Oh,
The
okay.
sword in the shape of Palestine. So this new album, I spent a couple of years working on, and it's sort of the kind of like the undoing of the ego behind the work, and just sitting with like removing the ego from the work and just sitting in the music and making it about like sharing the process with the public while making the music on the record. So it's very much about having emotions in an artificial time, and a time where everything is fed to us digitally, how to go back to this organic place of feeling our feelings.
Yeah.
um so side A is much more filled with hip hop influences, as well as like rage and the distinct things that people are used to hearing from me. And then side B is a much more experimental and like you said, introspective record that's really about the feelings that inform side A, and really who I am as Yassin, as people know me in real life.
Mm. And how was the reception at Centre-Fille? How did you feel like the reception was?
It was great, man. We had a sold out event. I'm very much going back to this the physical nature of music. I used to walk to HMV on Tuesdays to go buy albums as a kid, and it was definitely a way to consume music in its entirety. So the event was meant to offer that to the public to sit down and listen to a full album. And then it's only available on vinyl through my shop for now. So it's been amazing. People have been very supportive and kind of understand what it means. And I think people are craving more and more, they're craving like less disposable art and more um meaningful and mindful art. And that's really the purpose of the record.
Mm. So it's really good that you mentioned Maktaba. So nowadays, many of people I know who have stores or who have libraries, for example, Racine recently closed.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Racine
many,
closed?
yes, Librairie
Oh my
Racine
God.
closed recently. Many shops, that from, young entrepreneurs, our generation, have been closing. How did it come about, that you came up with this bookstore, Maktaba? And how is it still, how is it still alive?
Well, Mektaba, we opened about 2 years ago. It was Sundus's vision. Sundus was my life partner and wife. Um, had this vision to open a bookshop and a culture space for our community, which was very much missing in our life. Um, and we all play distinct roles in the shop. Sundus is the curator and the kind of the driver of the whole place in terms of messaging and the books that we hold, or the content that we hold in the shop. And then my role is very much about the outward facing element of Maktaba. So it's about the community that we can pull in, as well as the branding and all the artwork that comes out of there in terms of messaging that way. So it's a very much a distinct, which is why my album is coming out through the shop, because it's a part of our artistic process. Sundus always says it's an art project above a business, which is culture over commerce, which is the most important element of it. And I think maybe that non-traditional approach to business making is what's allowing it to stay fresh. And I think at this time in history, our people need a safe space more than ever. And that's not just Arabs, that's communities that are kind of under the microscope by the system that we all live under.
Mm-hmm.
So we hope to serve the community in that way and stay around as long as it's necessary for the community to need it and want it.
Good,
Yeah.
good. And you can share some tips also to other companies or businesses that keep closing. Maybe if there's a way they can, just still be there, because we need that. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think there's real tips. It's hard for everybody.
Yeah.
I think right now, especially in the state of the world, things are not easy. And a lot of the times online, people share like the positive and the kind of the successes. Whereas I think it's very important for us to just be honest with each other and say that being an artist is difficult, running a business is difficult, being a human being right now is difficult, and witnessing the things that we're witnessing. So it's just about like being there for each other, and things open and close. And I hope that every chapter serves the story that it's writing.
And something that is common in your journey is it's exactly what you said, the non-institutional, putting the non-institutional with institutional, making them cohabit in a way.
Yeah.
And that's something you've been doing in schools. We'll talk about your teaching career as well. But before that, your book, The Diatribes of a Dying Tribe, even the title is poetic, was based on your thesis. But was it a way to make it more accessible, a lighter version of your thesis, or was it complementing your thesis, that book?
Well, the book was an extension of my written thesis. My thesis was an album called "Fear of an Arab Planet," which was a collaborative record between me and three other MCs that were friends of mine. Um, and the book was an expansion of my written thesis. And at the time when I wrote it, there was no writings on Arab hip hop and identity, and we were kind of the first wave in North America to be doing what we were doing. So I just wanted to stamp that and say that we're here. At the time that we were growing up, there was a lot of. It's funny, I'm building the show for the Festival du Monde Arabe and going through old music and footage and everything that has happened since 2001 onwards to our people has been so unjust. And the only way we could counter it at the time was to tell our stories. It was like the only power that we had, and against such a huge wave of racism and isolation and Islamophobia. So the diatribes of a dying tribe served as like a stamp, like a certain stamp in our. It was about, I would say, 5 to 6 years into our careers. So it's to just say, like, we're here and we're going to continue on from here. And it was meant to kind of document the community that was around us from Palestine, from Syria, from Lebanon, from Algeria, from, Morocco, from all over the region. And it's grown so much now. So
Wow.
it's a
Wow.
beautiful thing.
Perfect. So now we're going to talk about your teaching career. How did you end up teaching a hip hop class at Concordia, and how has the experience been so far for you?
I got offered the position to teach at Concordia through another professor that was there at the time to come and co-teach the class. And then I eventually took over the class and kind of, that class shut down. And then I rewrote a new format of the class and split it in two, because my experience of hip hop is so, it's twofold. There's an element of it which is like identity building and social science and dealing with politics and dealing with the political system that's around us. And then there's this other element of it which is about the creative force that's within the culture. So I split that into two classes and grew it over time. I just finished my 10th year as a professor at Concordia.
Already, okay.
Yeah, it's been 10 years. I was quiet for a very long time because I was kind of building the syllabus and the structure of how to teach this kind of expansive culture within an institution. And it was 10 years last winter. So I'm about to enter my 11th year soon. And it's just been it's been an amazing space to be able to invite artist friends. We've had local legends like K Tronada in class, to people like Chance the Rapper or Havoc from Mob Deep, or Just Blaze or The Hallucination, or even Mashru' Leila or comedian Mo Amr. We've had some amazing guests come to our class.
Like in person, not online, like in person they came?
Those were all in person. And then obviously during the pandemic, I was teaching online for 2 years. And during the pandemic, I had even more guests. I had, OVO 40, I had Vic Mensa, I had so many people have visited our class at this point. So so it's been a blessing, and it's also a part of my artistic process in a way, because it's not a traditional, I'm not approaching it from a traditional, like, pedagogical approach to. I'm not trying to have them regurgitate facts. I'm trying to have them develop knowledge of self, which is what hip hop did for me, so it's been very interesting.
No, it's really, really common. You try to use different ways of doing things, but it's still coherent with your beliefs, and it all goes together, like somehow.
I think practice has to be holistic. You can focus on trying to attempt to become more famous, or delve into industry more, or you can focus on the arts, or you can do both, but really it depends what your goal is. And hip-hop is always attached to education for me. When I was listening to those first records that came to me as a youth, they educated me about lives that I wasn't privy to, or
Mm.
lives that I was privileged to not have. And it taught me everything about positionality and identity and culture. And so, that's why I approach it. And it's very naturally happened this way. It wasn't something that I like
Exactly. Yeah, and that's
chased, and that I
mhm.
think that's a testament to hip hop, the
Yeah,
power of hip hop.
yeah, yeah. And the alignment, I feel like things align even if you don't plan it,
Yeah,
somehow you go through those. Yeah, no,
yeah,
it's really fascinating. And so we're going to talk about your show this weekend, your collaboration with Hakawati Omar Offendum. Offendum
yes,
is
yeah,
good? Okay, I
yeah,
pronounce it good.
yeah,
You'll be sharing the stage with him. How did you
yeah.
guys meet and what are you guys preparing for us?
Me and Omar met like I would say almost 20 years ago. He's Syrian and grew up in the States, and he's kind of been one of my rhyme partners from the beginning. He's been on all my projects, and I've been involved in mixing his records, and we've toured together. And he's my brother. Apart from all the work that we've done, he's somebody that we always bounce ideas off each other, and we're from the same generation. He was part of my thesis actually as well, the diatribes of a dying tribe. So when Festival du Monde Arabe approached me about doing this show, um, it was a no-brainer that I would bring Omar. Omar hasn't done a show in the city in a while, and I don't think he's ever done a solo show in the city. And he has a very unique kind of approach to hip hop and to his music. It's very much a blend of like the old and the new. Whereas my stuff is, we always say that like his stuff is based in the past and my stuff is based in the future, and somehow we meet in the
In the
present.
middle. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is
So
deep.
so that's what this show is about. It's kind of like taking us to the history of poetry from the Arab community in North America, from the early days of Little Syria and Khalid Gibran and Nizar Qabbani and everything, into the more digital space that I work in.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So that's going to be interesting to see that mix. And you're going to be also using a lot of multimedia, huh, during the show?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a very
Okay.
much a multimedia artist, so we have visuals throughout the whole show, and the visuals are kind of like a performer in the show. They're a major component of the show, and then we go back and forth between his discography and my discography, with two separate sets that are about 35 minutes each, and then we have some friends coming to join us from the city as well.
Perfect. Nomadic massive people? No?
Possibly, yes.
Possibly. Okay. Because that's how I met you actually back in the days, 20 years ago or so. I was a big fan of Nomadic Massives. I would go to all of their shows and sometimes you would collaborate with them
Yeah, absolutely. That's my family.
yeah, 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 yeah. I will try to come for your show. But I have my kids that day. So
You
do you
should
think
bring your
it's
kids. How,
yeah,
how old are
they're
your
nine
how
and
old are your
eight.
kids?
9 and 8.
Yeah,
C'est
absolutely.
vrai?
My kids are coming. Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Yeah, please
okay,
bring your kids.
perfect. That
There's
solved
some
the
look,
problem.
there's some footage that you know, there's no like death or anything in the
Mm,
footage,
yeah.
but there's footage from Guantanamo and things from that era that are mixed into the show. So it's a
Mm,
bit of a heavy show.
yeah.
But I mean, if you want to have the discussion with your kids about what's
Yes.
happening now, it's a great like icebreaker
Absolutely.
for them for sure.
Absolutely. And they're asking a lot of questions, especially Ismail, my oldest son. He's always asking about what's happening in Palestine and Israel. So yeah, they're really I think they're ready.
Aware.
They're ready,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
we come
please
from
bring them.
Rwanda.
Please
I'm
bring them.
originally from Rwanda, so
Oh, wow. Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
known stories about,
Yeah.
yeah. So we can't end this interview without talking about what's happening now, the current
Yeah.
situation in the Middle East, and
Yeah.
everything that's happening. What's your lecture? I don't know how to say that in English. What's your
My
vision?
reading.
Your reading of what's happening.
Um, I think what we're witnessing is one of the most clear signs of the intention of nation state and colonial powers losing their power and abusing it. And I think we're in a form of an end time of the way that the world has been ruled. And I think that certain nation states are trying to hold on to the old ways of being by erasing a people off the earth. What we're witnessing in Palestine is not new, you know, since my 20s and since my father was in his 20s or his 30s. This has been going on and it's been documented. And, you know, we have books in our shelf that are from the 60s that say the exact same things that are being said right now, that are being done right now, that weren't documented. The only difference now is that we are witnessing the injustice from the people who the injustice is being done to. Yet still, because of the permeability of media and the ability to fake narratives, it's being presented as though these people are not worthy of living. And I think that's a great testament to where we are as human beings at this point. We don't even believe what we see, let alone have the ability to distinguish between our humanity and our points of views. So I think this is a great test for humanity now. And unfortunately, the way that it's going, it seems as though we're not going to make a decision as to what it is until it's done. And that's extremely unfortunate for our children, because we could be making a huge change in the world by standing by the children who are being killed and decimated in Palestine and now in Lebanon. And I just think that, you know, the only two words that could encapsulate how we feel about this is free Palestine. Free Palestine today, tomorrow, and forever. And inshallah, it happens in our lifetime.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, I don't have anything to say after this. This is the best way to end it. And yeah, and I feel like as artists, we have a role to play.
Absolutely.
Also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were quiet for a long time. And I think like,
but nowadays, I feel
now
we're
is the time to be loud.
more
It's time to
vocal.
be loud. Yeah.
Yeah. Sur ces mots, thank you so much, Yassin, for your
Shukran,
time.
thank you. Thank you. Please bring your kids to the show.
Yes, I will. I was thinking I need to find a babysitter and everything, but now that you tell me it's kids appropriate, you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
the way you explained it, I think they would enjoy
and talk
it.
to the festival. They'll bring you guys and make sure you guys aren't sitting too close to the stage and stuff. There'll be kids at the show. So
perfect. Thank you. Good luck. We'll see you
thank you
this weekend. Merci.
Inshallah.
Bye bye.
Bye.